And 3, 2, 1. Hey, Kendall.
Hello.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Doing well. Thanks for gracing us with your presence here on the podcast.
Of course. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, a bit of a local legend in the podcast world, you know?
I guess. you could say that.
So for people who don't know, because we're going to tag you on Facebook here,
Okay.
Who are you?
My name is Kendal Ziel. I'm the creator of Keeping Up with Kendal Podcast. I'm from Munster, Indiana, and just thought that, creating a podcast would be like a fun little way to express myself. So that's pretty much who I am.
Super awesome. I love it. How long have you had your podcast for?
So in December, it'll be, I think like the first week of December, it'll mark my 1-year anniversary of starting the podcast. So I've had it for pretty much almost a year now.
Awesome.
So it's been a while.
Yeah, so just about a year. I love that for you.
Thank you.
And I definitely hit you up because we were talking about, the whole podcast thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to get some more guests on here who weren't just real estate agents or in that realm, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think you have a really unique perspective on, like time management, keeping a busy schedule and, having everything that you want in your life with balance.
Oh, yeah.
Because
that's
something,
balance.
that's something that I definitely picked up from listening to a couple of your podcast episodes there. So let's jump into it. So for people who don't know,
Mm-hmm.
What we're talking about with your busy schedule, cue us in on why your schedule is so busy and what you do.
So I, just a little bit of background, I guess. So I've been playing soccer my whole life. I went to the University of Wisconsin-Parkside for 4 years, played soccer there, and then I recently ended my season about a month ago at Indiana University Northwest and took my COVID year, which was my extra year of eligibility due to COVID. I didn't have my season at Parkside, so I decided to play with my sister one last time and just ride with it. It was fun.
Yeah.
But I've just been managing my time for about as long as I could remember, even through like high school, just managing my time with homework and sports. But yeah, that's pretty much.
Yeah. So, going through, all sorts of schooling as
Oh,
well
yeah.
as being a college athlete, like
Mhm.
that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Keeping a busy schedule there for sure.
I'm always busy. I feel like there's just never a lot of downtime. However, recently there's been a lot of downtime because like I'm just doing grad school right now. I'm in my second year of my master's right now. So
Nice.
managing the workload it's been a lot.
There you go.
Yeah.
So what are you studying for your master's?
So I'm getting my master's in school social work. So I want to work with high school kids, I think.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. There you
Yeah, I
go.
have 1 more year, so it's dragging, but we're getting there. We're
Absolutely.
dragging.
And what's the plan after school?
So I'm actually doing my internship starting in January at an elementary school in Munster, and from there I'm doing working with like little kids, like elementary school, but then I'll also be in the high school as well, so I'll be getting a lot of exposure. But ultimately, I think I want to be in the high school, like working with the high school kids, coaching, hopefully, connecting with the kids and getting to know them and helping them out in any way that I can.
There you go. I love it. Awesome.
Thank you.
So, talking about time management, right? So for somebody who is, trying to just maintain an average lifestyle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or, wants to get their ducks in a row, what are some really useful tools that you have come to, practice with to help with your schedule and your time management yourself?
So, at the beginning of the year, like I knew how busy I was going to be, so I took it upon myself to like go to Target and get like a calendar and like seriously like write out my whole month.
Yeah.
That way I was able to plan ahead with like events that are coming up, tests that are coming up, games. Like it's an easy way for me to stay organized. I think that's extremely helpful. Just so you could like plan ahead and not be stressed out. I mean, I'm a planner, so I don't know if like the people listening are planners, but I cannot stand doing things last minute. So
Sure.
Having everything like in front of me and organized is something that has just been really helpful for me. Getting an agenda.
Yeah.
Just planning for me has been really helpful.
Yeah. No, I love that. And I think that a lot of, there's that old, I don't know if it's a parable or like an old saying or whatever, where you have the jar and you have the rocks, right? I don't know if you heard this one or not. But you put, okay. So a really cool example, right? So if you had a jar, right, and you had a certain amount of rocks and you had some pebbles and you had some sand, right? they can all fit in the jar, but they can't all fit in the jar.
Mhm.
Like if you put the sand in, then the pebbles, and then the rocks, right?
Yeah.
It's put the big rocks in first, then the pebbles go around the big rocks, and the
Mhm.
sand fills in all the cracks, right? So I think it's important when you're scheduling out your time like that, you're putting out the important things, like you said, the tests, the
Yeah.
games, the social events that you need to go to, right?
Mhm.
And then, sprinkling in the other things that you still want to do, and are still important, but
Right.
aren't like the most important thing and could be filled around those other things.
Oh yeah.
Right?
I think like going along with time management, I've probably said this like 1,000 times in my own podcast, but I think as a society we're programmed to like go 100 miles per hour all the time.
Oh, easily.
Especially like with work, with school, just needing to focus every day. I think I get some validation off of that a little bit. Like that's just what I'm used to, and that's what I feel that I could be my most like productive self is when I have a lot of things going on. But I think like over the years, like I've been really needing to take time out for like self-care. That's been a huge thing for me recently is like I don't need to go 100 miles per hour all the time and like do a bunch of things, but doing like little things for myself has been something that I've been trying to focus on lately while still doing the important things.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and there's another like saying that I've heard too, where like you won't let your phone die, right?
Mhm.
So why are you gonna run yourself until you're dead? Right?
That's so true. Yeah, I agree with that.
Because like you said, and even cars need oil changes, right?
We all need a reset
Exactly.
for sure. Like Sundays are my reset days, so I just take time to, clean my room, get ready for the week, even like meal prep, plan out my week. That's also been helpful is like writing down, especially for school, like with finals and everything coming up, there's just so much to do. Like you get overwhelmed. So for me, it's like writing out what I have to do for the week is another way that I stay organized. But yeah, that's just been really helpful is like needing to literally plan out everything.
Yeah. And having that time, to take the necessary breaks that you need to
Mhm.
take, right? So what are some things that you do on like your self-care days?
For self-care.
Yeah.
So like with my Sunday resets, this sounds really ridiculous, but having a clean space and having like a safe space, like a clean space is a safe space for me.
Oh yeah.
I know I can like get my work done and like really relax in my room if my space is clean.
Right.
I'm not like a clean freak, but I love when my space is clean.
Right. Yeah.
So that's something that I usually do. So I've actually signed up for a half marathon in April.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, so I'll be like doing a lot of running with like the Nike Run Club app. So I'll be focusing on that. I guess that could be like self-care. Going to the gym.
Mhm.
I literally go to the gym every day. Even like calling a friend, like FaceTiming a friend, hanging out with friends. Yeah,
That's awesome.
a
There you
bunch
go.
of different stuff.
Love it. Love it. Love
Yeah.
it. Love it.
What about you? What do you do?
Self-care typically is like watching football.
Okay, yeah. Like
So-
Sunday, Monday, and all the other days.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, honestly, a lot of times though, like I've done this more recently, is like Wednesday nights are my day to like leave the office a little bit early,
That's
right?
good. That's good. Mhm.
So to your point, like you can easily work yourself into the ground no matter what you're doing, right? So in my business, it's super easy for me to stay until 8 or 9 o'clock,
Mhm.
almost every day if you need to, right? So Wednesdays are my non-negotiable day where I leave like at 5. And then depends on how I feel that day. I might go home and like shower and change before I go
Right.
out, or I might just go straight out because my office is right
Right.
here on the square and there's
Oh
a ton
yeah,
of
that's so
restaurants.
nice for you that you can just like walk around the square. That's really nice.
Oh yeah, it's super convenient. So I will go out on like I'll just basically take myself out for dinner and like I'll just do that.
That's so nice. Yeah, doing things alone also I've come to the conclusion is really peaceful.
Oh, easily, yeah. That's like one of the highlights of my week because I could do that. I'll either throw in some like my AirPods and I'll like watch something on YouTube that I've been wanting to watch.
Like that's so peaceful.
Exactly.
No one's bothering you. Like you're just chilling. That's how I am. Like when I do my homework, I like go to Starbucks and just grind and just be alone and focus and yeah.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
nice.
Or I'll get a book and I'll read a book on whatever it is that I'm dealing with at that time, right? So anything that I can do to kind of just block out the noise and just focus on myself during that like hour is super nice. Then I'll go home and I'll go to bed early, and then it's kind of like my nice like little rally before like for my end of the week push.
Oh yeah. Mhm.
So love doing that for sure.
I've been definitely wanting to read a little bit more.
Yeah.
What are you reading? Do you know?
Yeah, I mean, I read a lot of self-help stuff, like
fun,
self-help
self-improvement.
and yeah, self-help, self-improvement, and then also like anything that's like nonfiction. For
Okay.
whatever reason, I hate like I love good movies, but I
Yeah.
hate fiction like books.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I grew up that way. I don't know.
Yeah. I definitely want to read more. I'm into like psychological thrillers a lot, so I feel like I would want to read more mysteries and stuff.
There you go. Love a good mystery book.
Yeah, me too. That's like probably one of my goals for like the new year is to incorporate that into my self-care is reading.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Get some Colleen Hoover up in there.
I don't know if I tried reading. I think maybe I attempted to read probably like a chapter, and I was just like, eh. You
Yeah.
gotta like be into that stuff. You gotta like get into it. And I'm just like, you guys should give it a chance. I don't know.
Maybe you should give it a second try. I don't know. But so, what are some of your daily routines, right? Because you're managing this, you were managing this really big schedule for a long time, right?
For a long time. Now, not so much, but for a long period of time, yeah.
How did you stay sane, and like what were your daily routines?
So I guess like with soccer, I mean, it all depends. Like during season, I would because we had games at night, but we had practice. Practice like fluctuated like in the morning or even before a game. But for me, like routine wise, I know for sure like I would go to bed earlier just so I have that reset and like so I'm focused for the next day, especially if we had a game or a big practice coming up. But I think like eating well is really important too. I think like meal prepping too if you can. Like going to Aldi and like meal prepping. But routine wise, like waking up, like checking emails, I guess like doing some homework, like if it's game day, and then I actually just joined the Y again.
Oh, nice.
In Cherville. I'm on a family membership now. Not at any time anymore at the Y.
Yeah.
So like going to the sauna was really helpful, doing some stretching, and then just either playing or doing homework or yeah.
So what would you say for the person that's listening to this, right? And maybe they're starting their fitness journey, right?
Oh yeah.
And they want to get some good routines in place, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know, like, when I go to the gym and I see people that are, even myself too, like restarting my fitness journey, a couple different times over my life, right? I feel like even going out there and just getting in the sauna for 5 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Walking a couple laps on the track, right? Picking up a couple of weights, like just starting that a little bit is even really impactful to keeping that momentum rolling.
Oh yeah.
For your
It's
routine.
like the little things too. Like, it's funny, but I just put on my story a few days ago that I'm slowly learning. Another thing that I'm learning about myself is that like low impact workouts are just as effective as high intensity HIIT or like really intense lifts.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just started going to a cycling class at the Y. That's been like so great. Like I'm loving it. Even I started doing yoga and meditation too, like once a week. That's been amazing, good for like mental health. But it's like the low impacts have just as much as effect as like the high intensity. But it's also like the little things that you're doing too, like you said, like walking on the track, going to the sauna, like getting into that routine of building a schedule and just being like, hey, like after work, like I don't have to like lift so like heavy. I don't have to like do sprints. Like I can do like little things too.
Right. And it's it's really interesting too because like as you start to do those little things, like you said, it adds up.
Yes,
right?
Exactly.
Because even when you this is a struggle that I always have. Like when I'm on my fitness journey or whatever, I'll get to where I want to be, and then I'll start to slack off. Right.
Nope, you can't do that.
Exactly. And so it's
you gotta keep going. You gotta find new challenges, new ways to push yourself. Like for me, like with soccer ending, I'm like, all right, like I'm used to like lifting, like still being in that routine, but the reason I signed up for it, I was like, man, like I want to challenge myself.
Right.
Like long distance has always been like the enemy for me, so it'll definitely be like a new hobby of mine. Like I'm already gonna buy like new shoes. I asked Santa for new shoes for Christmas. Like I've already started researching like a bunch of different stuff for it. But no, I think once you hit that point of like, okay, I'm fine where I am. Finding that point of like, how much farther can I go?
Right.
Without reaching that breaking point, like in between both. like your body's capable of more than you think.
Right. And like you said too, it's the little things on both sides of it, right?
Yes.
So once you're there, if you let the little things slide, you'll fall back into the same patterns that you were in before.
Yeah.
And if you're starting out, if you focus on the little things, that's what's going to get you to where you want to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
So just showing up every single day,
Well, that's
for
enough.
5
if you're
or 15
showing,
minutes,
yes, of course.
you're after a week or two, you're going to be like, okay, like I've been here for 5 minutes every
Mm-hmm.
single day for the last week. Let me go ahead and get that next 15 minutes in,
yeah,
right?
and then you're like, all right, let me start pushing myself more.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing too that I need to like, I know it now, but I need to like really continue to like think
Mm-hmm.
about it every time, is that it's not like a destination, right?
Right.
It's simply a lifestyle.
Yeah.
Like that's how you want to live your
what
life.
do they say? Like, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Exactly.
That's exactly what I'm going to be going through.
Yeah.
If I have a marathon, I'm going to have to pace myself. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I'm so used to soccer being like sprinting, but I'm like totally going to use that. Like, just take it slow.
Yeah, take it slow. Take it one step at a time.
Yeah.
And I get that because, 100%. So with that being said, right? So those little habits that you put together, those really impact who you are as a person at the end of the day.
Yes.
Like you said, it's all the little things that add up.
Yeah,
right?
of course.
Sure. Absolutely. So what are some ways that, somebody, and I know we've kind of touched on this in a couple of different ways, but I want to summarize it a little bit here.
Okay.
I feel like everyone has this thought of, oh, if my life was perfect, this is what it would look like. Right? And in order for that to happen, you have to say no to certain things.
Oh gosh, that's a big one for me.
So how do you do that, right?
Right.
But then also, there's never like this perfect life that you live. There's always going to be a little bit of chaos, right?
Ups and downs, always.
So how do you manage and how do you like do your best to keep everything together and having the life that you want with the balance that you need to actually enjoy it?
So with going along with what you said of like saying no, that's been not like one of my goals for this past year, but if it's going to benefit me, I'm obviously going to say yes. But if I have second thoughts about something, then saying no is like what I need to do. I used to feel bad about saying no to people and just going because I felt like I needed to go so that I don't disappoint the person.
Right.
But no, if it's like benefiting me, if it's going to help me in some way, if I'm gonna have fun with it, then absolutely. But sometimes there's days where I'm like, all right, like I've kind of taken on too much today. Like if someone's like, hey, like, do you want to go get a drink, or hey, do you want to go out? Like maybe dialing it down of like what I need, and explaining to that. You don't need to explain to that person, but if you're like, hey, like I'm just not feeling it today, you don't need to give an explanation. Like if it's you're doing it for yourself.
Right.
But I used to feel so bad of like disappointing them and being like, well, what if they don't like me because I'm saying no? Like,
right.
Not anymore. Now I'm like, you know what? Maybe I just need a night in, or like, hopefully, if they're a true friend, then they'll understand.
Right. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I'm definitely that friend that like when I hit up my other friends and ask them to hang out, and they're like, oh no, we can't go out for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I'd be like, hey, listen, like, come to my house. Like, let's do something over here.
Or
right?
like even if you're like, oh, I don't want to go out, like come over and watch a movie. Or
right.
like watch the game. Little things.
Yeah.
Small things.
Exactly.
What was the second part that you asked?
The second part is, like, how do you keep it all together, right? Because
I mean, I do, but I don't. I do,
right.
But like, so I guess one thing that I've kind of done this year is a gratitude journal.
Ooh.
One of my friends, she actually bought it for me for, was it Christmas last year? Yeah, I think it was Christmas last year, and then I started using it this year. But it's been extremely helpful for me to really like reach within and be like, man, I could just really show gratitude here and be grateful for the life that I'm living, and just all around like feeling good. But keeping it all together, like nobody has it all together all the time.
Right.
And I think as humans, like we need to be more empathetic towards each other and be like, well, they're human too, and not just be like rude about it, just really try to be empathetic and understanding, taking a walk in their shoes or however you want to say it. But no, I mean, I don't have it together all the time, but having also a good support system has been really helpful. Like going into the season, my parents knew how busy I was going to be.
Right.
Especially like this past summer. I mean, I was literally running because I worked at White Hawk, in Crown Point.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Bev cart.
Oh, there you go. Nice.
So this is seriously what I would do. I would have practice at like 7 to 8:15. So I would literally go to practice from 8:15 I'd go to work at 9 and then be there till like 2 and then like go home and do homework. So I was taking a summer course. So like I was literally going like from back to back to back stuff.
Right.
But no, like my parents were super helpful, and just having a good support system around you I think is really important as well, and having good friends too that'll back you up.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Like, super grateful for the friends that I have in my life too, because they're the ones that have helped pick me up over the last couple of months with, all the craziness that's been going on in my world, right?
Yeah.
And the funny story about, like you were saying, back to back to back, like those different things reminded me when I was in high school. I was coming out of high school, I think. I was paying off the car, like my first car that I got, right? My grandfather gave me a loan for the car, and I was paying it back. So I worked at a car wash in Portage.
Okay.
I worked there from like 8 a.m. until like 2, right? And then at 2, I would run over to the gym. I'd get my workout in, shower, change, and I would go work. I worked at Chick-fil-A at the time.
Okay. My pleasure.
Yeah. It was not, actually.
It was not a pleasure to work there.
I worked in the kitchen. No, it was a fun place to work at, but I worked in the kitchen. So, we actually had fun. So, I worked there from 4 until like close, which would be, they would close at 10, you're out by 11, right? Except for when you're working there with, people that don't really care about their job, you're not getting out until like midnight or 1 o'clock, right? Yeah. So I would do that like week in and week out, to the point where I actually fell asleep like at the wheel on 65 and brushed up against the guardrail.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Luckily, we were all good. I just had a minor like scratch on the car.
You're probably like, all right, something's got to go. Like, or I got to just fix something.
Yeah.
Because you can't like do that every day.
And that was like the first wake up call that I was like, hey, maybe I should like dial this back a little bit.
Maybe a little, like.
And so
that's crazy.
That is my like personality flaw, is that I will keep going until I burn
out,
like way past burnt out.
I'm so familiar. So like, not to like get into it, but with what I'm studying right now, I've learned about burnout so many times, with especially like the profession that I'm going into. Again, like having that, it all kind of ties in together, right? Like having that support system, having people around you that'll lift you up, having coworkers that you could talk to. But burnout is so real in any aspect besides social work. But making sure that like you don't reach that point is important. Yeah,
absolutely. So are you a fan of like scheduling, time off? Like how far in advance do you do that? Do you like schedule like little mini vacations? Like what do you do?
Yeah, so mini vacations. So my friend actually lives in Florida.
Nice.
And she's lived there for 2 years, I think now. I've really been so busy with just the craziness of life that I haven't even been able to go down there and like see her yet, like see her new apartment. And she's moved already. Like she was living somewhere and then moved already. I'm like, all right, I didn't get to see her first place. But like, no, I'm gonna go see her like the second week of December once finals end. So like, nice. I always try to plan little trips when I can. I mean, I took I went to Seattle like at the beginning of the year to go see one of my friends from college. Nice. I totally believe, like if you can, obviously, go on mini trips. I love that, like a weekend getaway. I think that's perfect.
Yeah, well, and I think it's really like I think each person, it's kind of like whatever they can do, right?
Right.
And also like what do you need to as a person? Like, do you need a mini vacation every?
Mini vacations might be a little like up there, but like little things too.
Yeah, well, and it's not necessarily in the way of like, oh, I'm going to go to Seattle for the weekend, right? It could be like, I was thinking about doing this, and I'm kind of kicking myself for not scheduling it because I told myself I would and I didn't do it. But I was thinking about just getting a campground at the dunes, right?
Yeah.
And just going there for a weekend,
they do that.
right? Yeah. And just camping out at the dunes for like a weekend.
Be one with nature. That's also an amazing self-care tool.
Exactly. So it doesn't have to be anything grand or extravagant.
No, not at all.
Literally just doing something where you're away from your normal for a couple of days, and you do something that you enjoy doing, or it's a hobby of yours, or even just staying home and keeping the blinds closed.
That's true.
Like
binge Netflix. I'm watching Selling Sunset right now.
Oh, nice.
Your listeners. Well, actually, yeah, because it's like a realtor show.
It is like a real estate show. I have not watched it.
There's drama.
Oh, I bet.
There's tea, but it's it's good. It's like good bad TV, like the credit. I'm also watching the Kardashians.
Oh, nice. There you go.
Reality TV, but not really reality. I don't know why they call it that.
Yeah, it's definitely not reality.
It's not reality.
Yeah, no, 100%. So, But yeah, no, I think that, like you said, doing things and having those scheduled breaks, right? Like I find that whenever I book a trip or a vacation or anything that I'm taking time off from work for, like not only will I actually get it figured out because I will find someone to cover for me,
Right.
and I will be able to manage like that. The other thing too, it also actually boosts my business around that time because Murphy's Law is I'm going to get super slammed as soon as I'm ready to leave for vacation.
Yeah, right.
So it helps with like actually doing more business, but then also it gives me something to look forward to, right?
Oh yeah.
And if you're just aimlessly grinding away, you're never going to really give it your all because you're always going to be like, okay, I'm coming back to the same thing tomorrow,
Exactly.
right? Whereas if you're, okay, well, I'm going to put a little extra effort in today because I know I have to get more things done and stack that up before I
Right.
leave for vacation.
It's kind of like a reward almost.
Exactly.
Like a little reward. But what I was going to say is going along with like planning and things like that. I know you said like planning little trips would be beneficial, but also like the little things. I mean, I just started meditation and yoga, so like even if you're at your work desk, there's like YouTube videos that you can go on YouTube and Google like 5-minute meditation and just sit there and just like be one with yourself and with your thoughts.
Yeah.
Like on your lunch break if you're alone.
Yeah.
Like that's also so helpful to like clear your mind. Yeah. It doesn't have to be a vacation. It could just be something as simple as that.
Yeah, I love it. So you can take mini breaks during the day, and then you can also take a break every 2 to 3 months with a weekend off, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the cool thing is too, with most people's work schedules, like you can realistically manipulate it so that you get like 2.5 days, right?
Right.
Like most people in my industry can work a little bit extra, like Monday through Thursday, and then take off Friday, Saturday, Sunday, right? And I'm sure there's other hacks and all that stuff in any other workplace too. So awesome. Well, when you're in the end here, any closing thoughts you have around life balance, helping people out, anything like that?
I mean, I always say like I'm here for you guys.
Yeah.
Like I always like at the end of my podcast, if it's something a little heavier that I've talked about, I always say like, oh, like if you ever want to talk, like my DMs are open. Like you can always text me. But same with your viewers. Like, hey, if you need something, like you know where to find me now. Like keeping up with Kendal or my Instagram, like all that stuff.
Yeah.
But no, I think like knowing, like one of my podcasts was knowing when to slow down in life. I think even if it's just a pause in your day, it can go. It's gonna rhyme, but it can go such a long way. Like just finding those little things to do like makes life like worthwhile. That's my advice.
I love it. Awesome. Well, you heard it here first. So actually here second because it was on your podcast first. For sure. Yeah. So awesome. Well, I'll link to all your socials in here too. Great. So keeping up with Kendal and then your Facebook and your Instagram. So
okay, sounds good.
And it'll be good there. So thank you so much,
Thank
Kendal.
you for listening, guys. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.